I'm back. How many days has it been? Probably like 4? Doesn't matter. We're here now. Lately, I have been working on an idea that I've had. Let's grab it real quick. I wrote it on the back of an envelope, but here we go. So, I'm basing this on a categorizing tool we have, behavioral categorizing tool that we have in sales. Ruby, Pearl, Sapphire, Emerald is like the gem theory, where basically says that there's 4 kinds of, not personalities, but 4 kinds of motivations. And from that, certain personalities are derived. So, one kind of person is motivated by money and, well, fame. Another kind of person is motivated by, again, fame or fun. Different kind of person is motivated by helping others or a cause. And then there's another person that's motivated by facts and figures. So on these 4 motivations, there comes the different kinds of personality types. And really won't get into much of that, but say, for example, the person who's motivated by money and fame are the kind of people that you would see as the CEO of companies, leaders in organizations, pretty much people who are very self-motivated and have that iron will, so to speak. And these kind of people are, well, very confident, again, self-motivated, and they aren't necessarily short-tempered, but more impatient, right? They're the kind of people who want to get things done. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum is the motivation of helping others and or a cause. These are the kind of people who we traditionally associate with being a good person, right? So these kinds of people are, well, again, who genuinely want to help other people, not for any sense of personal pride or even virtue. It's just a sense of that's how they find fulfillment. Their personal fulfillment is not personal at all. It's completely selfless in that sense. And that's the same true for a cause. These are the kind of people who you would think more as being devotional, like truly devotional, not for any kind of status, but as in completely letting yourself absorb. Oops, something fell down there. Let me readjust. Okay, so yeah, these would be the kind of people who are who would completely absorb themselves into an ideal or other people. Then there's the other sides of people who are motivated by fame and fun. Again, these are more what you would see as party goers. And just in general, people who don't take themselves or others so seriously. They just believe that life is just a game essentially, and that they're there to enjoy it. So why not make the most of it and have a good time? While on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's people who's motivated by facts and figures, who can't really understand life as being just a game, nor necessarily do they find it to have any particular purpose. It's just that if you have an intention, there's really only a few ways that you can do it to make it work. Other than that, it's just completely ignoring the fact that if you do this, then this will happen. These are the kind of people who are very logical and, again, find fulfillment in that sense. Sort of like getting things done, but at the same time is having a lot of enjoyment for the process of actually overseeing a system or specific guidelines to follow in order to achieve something consistently. So I guess generally you would call these people very logical, maybe even more realistic than the other kinds of people with these different motivations. But in general, it just comes down to the overall philosophy and way of thinking that you have that determines your outlook in life. So what I did, because that's what we learned in sales with Deadlock, but what I did is to sort of take that a step further and really see how people react differently to certain situations. Like in the context of someone telling a joke, some people would find it hilarious, while others would be highly offended, or others would just get wouldn't understand it at all, and things like that. So let's take, for example, the person who is motivated by money and fame. These again are the kind of people who take that leadership role and actually want to get things done. These people, you associate them on being really confident. So the only way really to be able to harm them, to get them to feel a negative emotion, is to diminish their confidence, diminish their status. Essentially say that whatever they think they are, or whatever they think that they're trying to do, is worthless, has no meaning, pretty much. Now, if they're insecure, then they'll just see that as you being hurtful, and by consequence, they'll feel sad. But if they're not insecure, then they'll take that comment and simply see you as someone who is discouraged, someone who has had a bad experience, a non-believer, and instead would try to inspire you by themselves being charismatic and being the example of. So they would take any negative comment as a challenge in that sense. That's only if they are truly confident. Otherwise, they'll just go into some form of depression. But by contrast, people who are motivated by helping others and or a cause, these are people who are very empathetic And pretty much the only way that these people feel a negative emotion is when they're being made fun of or mocked. If they're insecure, they understand that as others disrespecting them, which in essence is true, but again, to a person who is motivated by money and fame, if they are mocked, they just wouldn't care. Most likely they will laugh along with it. Also, that's also true for someone who believes life is just a play, that there's no other purpose other than to have a good time. Being completely, I wouldn't say selfless, but uncaring about something important. So when those people are mocked, they would definitely not feel any anger. Most likely they'll just laugh along with it. But for people who are motivated by helping others and or a cause, when they're being mocked, they feel anger. Any kind of disrespect, they feel anger. If they're insecure. If they are secure, then they'll simply see the person who's mocking them as someone who is frustrated with their life. Not discouraged, but frustrated. So their approach instead would be to personally help them make their lives better. And in that sense, they become more lovable. Yeah, and also the same way how for the person who is motivated by money and fame, when you diminish their worth, then if they're insecure, they feel sadness. But if you diminish the worth of someone who is motivated by helping others or a cause, they don't necessarily feel sadness. Instead, they either to agree and accept that, and in many cases they find that to be motivating to make themselves even better, even more helpful. So to one kind of person who has motivation for money and fame, they get sad because of the diminishing. And for the other kind of person who's motivated by helping a cause or people, they find that highly inspiring. So again, mocking is not bad for all kinds of people, nor is diminishing bad for all kinds of people. In many ways, it becomes these negative actions. Negative actions tend to either become very hurtful or very inspiring. So it just depends on how your outlook is on life. I won't go into the others, but see here, it's the entire network I'm still building, actually, of negative actions, positive actions, making them feel very specific emotions, which would make a completely different form of emotion for others. We fell again. And their response, if they're insecure or if they are secure and confident, and how they would be seen as, what they would look like as a fully realized human being. So I'll finish that at some point, but that's what I've been working on these past 4 days. And I will most likely share that with you later on. I don't know how, but I will. Mark my words. Anyways, it is time to go. Say good night and toodaloo.